what's going on YouTube? This is a deck profile, obviously. I haven't done one in quite a long time, so I'm very probably a fair bit rusty at this, but I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. I play Vanguard. I recently placed third at UK Nationals, and with Messiahs and GBTA recently came out, and I wanted to do a deck profile and on pretty much where, well, sort of like first, second draft of where I'm taking the deck going forward into next few months and into Continentals, which should be quite good. So let's get on with it. Starter is Neon Messiah. He's your go-to first lock target for your skills, as he keeps your engine going. Pretty much make sure you're able to stride every single turn, which is very important in this deck. Next up is for Alter Ego Messiah, your boss card. There's nothing really much there's a lot that can be said about this card. Its stride skill helps you maintain a good board control, and its GB2 allows you to keep a lot of hand advantage, so you're extremely defensive in this matchup. Well, in a lot of matchups you're just constantly on the defense, while also providing a huge amount of offense capabilities, which is what I really like about the deck. Next up, you've got Freeze Ray Dragon. Freeze Ray Dragon basically helps you in a lot of matchups that would have otherwise been very difficult, if not nigh impossible, as you don't have the same utility that Chaos have, just being able to like take a card from your opponent's hand and lock it. But Freeze Ray Dragon gives you an edge against certain matchups like Pale Moon, Grand Blue, the very popular Genesis Wiseman combo that's going around right now, and he's just a very solid backup Vanguard. Wish I came across him a bit sooner than I did. I sort of like discovered this card around the same time that everyone else was discovering it, and I've not regretted putting it in. I might bump him back up to 4, but for now I'm teching in Lady Gunner with the Neutron Star. It's just that extra little bit of locking potential. Just being able to just shut down, just the potential of being able to shut down both left and right columns first stride is quite impressive, especially now that you've got Flagellate and you can just straight up and mega lock both of those. But anyway, onto the grade 2s. We've got Free Arrester Messiah. Excellent card. I've ran him at 3 for quite a while now, and I decided to run him at 3 ever since Denial Griffin and Kagero started to creep into the meta. It was just basically because of Denial Griffin that Arrester got put down to 3, as you can't really pull off the restanding combos as much as you could against them, because if this dies then your entire turn combo ends and it kind of really sucks. So yeah, but he's still a very good card. I might actually bump it back up to 4 as we're seeing less and less Kagero, but it's still a very relevant threat. Although on the lines of cards that get again destroyed by Denial Griffin, we've got Lady Gunner, the new grade 2 card. She's amazing, just being able to pump up rear guards. Combo with Sacrifice, you can make the absolutely massive numbers. But again, it does fall prey to cards like Denial Griffin, which was it's a bit of a difficult dilemma, because Arrester used to be the only card that would fall to Denial Griffin, and that would make the Kagero matchup very difficult. But now we have this as well. This is a necessary card, yet it's another target for a very powerful Key Guardian. But I think the sacrifice of that consistency is worth it because this card just like pumps so much up, and it enables a lot of strong combos. Next up, 2 Lady Battle of the Gravity Well. The reason I play her is you still need the main phase self lock, no matter what some people may say. Main phase self lock is still very important, and it is a very important card. When you do get to those other control matchups like Kagero, when the fear of Denial Griffin is always on you, you need at least to be able to set up your combos somewhat, which is good. And finally, Awakening Messiah. Again, just as part of that restanding combo that you can do with Exilix that you've always been able to do, mainly used with Gravity Well. Just a very interesting card and versatile, and you can just unlock him and just give something an extra 2000 power. I don't think it makes too much of a difference, so I've not come across many situations where the extra 2k made a difference unless it was on Lady Battle over the Gravity Well. So onto the grade 1s, we've got the 4 Perfect Guard Gs. The unflipping is definitely needed in this deck. You need as much consistency and efficiency with your engine as possible, and the Perfect Guard definitely enables that. And there's no better option for Link Joker yet in terms of Perfect Guard. Next up, we've got the 4 Stride Fodder. You know, you're a G-centric deck with a G Vanguard. You need that stride fodder. You need to be able to just keep pumping out the strides every turn, because that's how this deck wins. Alter Ego Messiah on its own isn't a very remarkable Vanguard. It doesn't have any potent offensive skills like say Chrono Jet Dragon does. So yeah, you need the 4 stride fodder, and helps you make sure you don't miss your ride, which is very important. Next up on the grade 1s, 4 Sacrifice Messiah, a very important part of your, again, efficiency, power engine, and just an overall very powerful card in itself. Just being able to continually lock itself and give something 3000 power and countercharge at the same time. You just reach so many lovely numbers with it. And finally, to round out the grade 1, Chameleon. There's a lot more control in the meta, so it definitely called for Chameleon to come back. Means your Shadow Paladin matchup is a little bit worse because you're running a resist unit, but I think it's a worthy sacrifice to play a very potent card, a card that can counter a lot of other control decks. Just basically with this card out, you can guarantee that you have a target for your stride skill every turn, which is quite nice. And the extra unflipping is very nice. Is very valuable. Onto the triggers. 4 Messiah crits. Fuel Soul, give your Vanguard power. Lets you get more hand advantage than this deck already gives you, which is insane. And Fueling the Soul for GB2 is very important. Probably one of the most underrated cards in the deck is Paradigm Shift Dragon. Just the ability to just put it back into the deck, even if you're not on a Star Vader Vanguard, is very important. The reason you can do that is because the way the card's worded, it checks for the requirements after the cost has already been paid. So it'll fizzle out, you don't get to lock anything, but it's just putting a crit back into the deck, and doing that late game can be absolutely devastating for the opponent. You're just drive checking crit after crit every turn, which is very nice. Next up, 4 Draw Trigger. Very important card. Fuels the soul for GB2, but it can also help you cross certain thresholds of power, and just having a draw trigger in the deck helps you maintain a good hand size. I would never run 12 crit for that exact reason. And finally, just to round out the main deck, we have 4 heal triggers, obviously for your G Guardian fodder. Next, on to the G-Zone itself, we have the new boss card. The new Amazing Stride, Genesis Dragon Flagellate Messiah. This card is so versatile and so potent in its usage. Like Messiahs before, you would have Blizzard, and that would be your go-to first stride in a lot of situations, especially against a lot of combo decks that can pull off a lot of attacks. You need that the hand advantage that getting your GB2 off as early as possible can give you, and Flagellate can do that, and also provide a huge amount of pressure if you have the right setup pieces, which is quite important. You need to run 4 Messiahs. It's pretty mandatory. Just the aim of the deck now is to basically keep the opponent Megalocked for as long as possible. It does Glendios better than Glendios does Glendios, if you know what I mean. Next up, 3 Amnesty Messiah, a very important card. Just the power this card can reach. if your opponent doesn't have the perfect guard, they are in a real pickle, just being hit with that massive number with the crit. Yeah, because Flageolet's now out. Yeah, I used to run 4 of that guy because I run 2 Exilix, which is, he's your main sort of like finisher of sorts. You want to pump up your rear guards to massive numbers, swing with a fairly big size Vanguard with crit, and then just finish them off with your rear guards that you put the trigger effects onto. I prefer 2. I'd say 2 is the standard right now, personally. I can see why people only run 1. Then we've got 2 Big Crunch. Big Crunch is very important, even now. Big Crunch was so important that I ran it 4 at Nationals, just because it's so damn good at what it does, which is to shut down the opponent for as long as possible. And now that we have Flageolet, Big Crunch's job has sort of been diminished, but he's still a very important asset, to the point where, say you're on Freeze Ray, and like you're not on your alter ego at least, and but you have your G Guardian set up, you can just first stride into Big Crunch and start comboing with that. Yeah, I don't run Flageolet in this deck. Just telling you now. I don't run no. If I didn't run Flageolet, I'd be an idiot. I don't run Transels. I personally don't like that card. I think the card is actually very counterintuitive to what you're trying to do with this deck, which is to keep the opponent locked down for as long as possible. And either to say stride Flageolet, then the opponent's cards would be unlocked that you've been spending turns at mega locking, which doesn't fancy. It doesn't sound very appealing to me. And the reason I didn't play Transels at Nationals was because the more sustained locking that you got from Big Crunch was a lot more valuable than what just a 1-turn sort of like flash of lock can give you. And it was really difficult to combo with the deck as well. It just created very awkward situations when you strode him. So yeah, I don't see why this card, why Transels Messiah has endured as long as it has. I don't think it held up very well after it was out for long enough. I think just better cards exist for the deck. Next up is Sabreeze. You are a G-centric deck. You have so many cards that rely on the GB1 ability. If your opponent doesn't hit their ride and they create a situation where Sabreeze is possible, you better damn go for it, because you have so much countercharging that the counterblast cost is basically, it's not an issue. As long as if you make it so you're at free counterblast, Sabreeze is at its most valuable, because then you can stride into it and also have enough counterblast to use Alter Ego's stride skill, which is an amazing and devastating combo that can just swing the game entirely in your favor to basically a guaranteed win in a lot of cases. Well, in most cases. If you're already in like a bad position, say like they rush you down, you don't have much in hand, then it's still possible they can beat you. But say if it's just like a steady going game, Sabreeze can just cement it. Next up are the G guards, 1 screw. Just the guaranteed 10k shields just by throwing a discard. I mean, you draw so many cards in this deck that the discard cost is not really that big of an issue. Next up is Destiny Guardian. Sort of like what you can achieve when you combo it with the 2 Demon Maxwells that are in the deck is very nice. This card isn't as bad as people say. Well, this card is just flat out, a solid pick in the size. In any other Link Joker deck, I'd say it's still worth the tech just for the mirror match, because it can help you in the mirror match. But its main usage in Messiahs is to combo with Demon Maxwell more than anything. I say just using the 2G Guardian in turn just to shut down a big Vanguard or a Restander is well worth ditching 2G guards for. And when you use the right cards of it, can just set you up so much more consistency as well, and efficiency in your engine. Just gets you counter charging so much. So yeah, that's pretty much the deck. I'm going to be back doing hopefully more videos if the response to this is good. I'm going to post another video about Messiahs, talking about the general combos that you can do with the deck, especially now. So, and get into the first stride combo that you can do with the new Flageolet, which is something I think a lot of players need to know about because it's a very important first stride combo. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you next time. See ya.